All right, let's talk about the Detroit Lions pulling off a major victory against the Baltimore Ravens. They were underdogs heading into this game. They end up leaving 2-1. What a performance from Jared Goff. What a performance from this Lions offense. Let's talk about, really from the first drive being able to be dominant all night long. Let's start off with the play you see on your screen. They had this really great drive where they quickly got down the field, largely due to Jamison Williams making plays. The one you see on your screen is a zone coverage concept. When this play begins, you see Williams, it's a threat of his speed, right? Because you saw the route he was running. He's obviously so explosive and can get down the field in such a hurry that you have to make sure that you're staying further deep so you don't give up a huge play, right? But in doing that, you essentially give up a huge play because he can just cut towards the sideline and now there's nobody there. Of course, Goff's not going to miss a throw like this. Well thrown by Goff, well timed by Goff, but a great route. And again, this is why this guy was drafted 11th overall a couple years ago, because he can do stuff like this. Later on, we saw another one where it's going to be a 3rd down and 6. And again, it's these types of routes. Everyone thinks, for speed, well, it helps you down the field. And logically, that makes sense. Or like a wide receiver screen or something like that. But in theory, it should help you with every single route on the route tree. Because again, you have the threat of going down the field. The safety's going to have to stay further deep. Watch how when Goff takes the snap, I mean, realistically, the Ravens were not doing a great job at getting in the right lanes and picking up these types of plays. You see someone over the middle ideally should have picked this up. But again, it happens so quickly because Williams is so quick. A lot easier said than done. And again, for Goff, he's getting it there in a hurry as well, right? Getting it there quickly, a little bit of a low throw, but ultimately the important thing was getting it there quickly. Williams is going to make the grab there, so it's really good job. A 4th down and 3 on this play, big play, right? You have this great drive. You don't want to walk away with nothing, so got to make sure you can get some points here. The Ravens are showing an all-out blitz, and I just got to be honest, I don't like how they're playing this. Because again, it's a 4th down and 3, but you see how far off some of their players are on this play. So if that's the route Amon-Ra St. Brown is running, and again, I think they're trying to fool him by maybe saying that the defensive back who's lined up on Amon-Ra could be covering him, but still, Goff's going to read this too quickly. You have to know the strength of your opponent and what you're up against, because watch what happens. Goff immediately reads where the blitz is, gets it over there. Goff's just going to notice that too quickly. It's automatic for Jared Goff. It really is. Give him a ton of credit for reading this play. But ultimately, at the same time, for the Ravens, don't put yourself in this situation. Unfortunately for them, they did, and that allowed for the first down, that allowed for a touchdown. Also, this play was a huge play for the Detroit Lions, where it's going to be a 3rd down and 7. You have Sam Laporta running the route you see on your, or it looks like it's going to be that route that you see on the screen. It's actually not. He's going to kind of sell as though he's going more over the middle. But keep in mind, just game situation of 3rd down and 7 at their own 5-yard line. The Ravens are going to send an extra player because they're like, hey, let's see if we can, let's see if we can get a safety on this play. Because let's be honest, when the offense is inside the 5 and it's 3rd down and they're going to be passing, the defense always wants to try and see if they can get a safety. And ultimately, even if you don't get the safety, even just getting a stop, what does that do? Well, it forces it's going to force the offense to then have to punt. You're going to get good field position probably. It's a huge, huge play. But when this begins for Goff, you see right here, he's going to throw this, and it's a little bit blurry here, but Laporta, works back towards the middle after faking as though he's going towards the inside. In fact, let's just use this angle to show. You see Laporta over the middle, does bump into the defensive back a little bit, but I think he does a good job of not pushing off, just using his body to kind of almost like a basketball player, kind of box out that defender, clear out a lane for him, and again, beautiful throw from Goff. They end up scoring a touchdown on that drive. You think about how different that play is, or that drive, think about how different that sequence goes if they just get a stop. Laporta also had another key conversion on that drive. Just some really good stuff from the Detroit Lions. But now let's go over here, because the Lions got the goal line stop, and they're feeling good about themselves. But then the Ravens score a touchdown at the end of the half. They score a touchdown at the beginning of the next half. And all of a sudden, for the Lions, you find yourself down 7 points. You got to make something happen. And, Ben Johnson might not be there, but it's, They still have a bag of tricks here. Watch as Jared Goff's going to flip this one back to David Montgomery, but Montgomery is then, by design, going to flip this one back to Jared Goff. And keep in mind, they have to make sure that they get a backwards pass. Montgomery sees that Goff has taken a step further than where he is. So watch how this is a really alert play by David Montgomery. He flips this one back, forces Goff to have to take a step back, which means that it's still backwards passes. This is just like handing the ball off. You only get one forward pass, so making sure that you keep those ones backwards, really, good job by Dave Montgomery, and then good play by Goff. Again, that's not so easy either. Catch the ball, get the right, grip on the ball, then get it over there, but they're able to pull it off. And heading over here, I've shown a lot of Goff making solid plays against admittedly really good schemes and good routes and things of that nature. Let's show a great throw from Jared Goff. One-on-one matchup. It's Marlon Humphrey trying to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown. These are two All-Pros from just last season going up against each other. So big boy matchup right here. Goff takes the snap, and it's not bad defense, but as the old saying goes, nothing beats a perfect throw and perfect catch, and that's what you get from what a throw from Jared Goff, and great catch as well from Amon-Ra St. Brown. They tied a game. They then get a stop and get the ball back, and it's seems like the Lions are doing great when they are in a situation where they start to drive at inside their own 5, because they had the really long drive that took a ton of time and a ton of plays. David Montgomery on this one is going to say, hey, let's maybe not spend that long. First, it's really well blocked, but watch the hesitation by Montgomery. He lets the play develop, then shoots through and gets past the safety, and you're thinking, okay, is he going to be gone right here? And also, if for the Ravens, if they can catch up, do they try and knock the ball loose, right? Well, here you see good hustle by the Ravens defensive backs. Marlon Humphrey, the first one to be able to get over there, and he tries to hit the ball, but also give credit to David Montgomery. Not the easiest play when you're exhausted, grabbing onto the football to be able to make sure that you only have one hand on it too, making sure you don't lose it. But he did a good job at doing exactly that. So, great play by the Lions to get themselves inside the red zone. And then here, so that set up the 4th down and 1. Again, Dan Campbell is going to go for it in this situation right here. You see Goff is going to hand the ball off to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was lined up as a fullback on this play. Ravens go all out to try and stop the over the middle. So Mike Green is the main contain guy here, right? You can't let them run up the gut, so you have to kind of be a little bit weak on the edges, and you have to rely on your edge rushers to be able to make a play if the opportunity presents itself, which it does for Green. But because Amon-Ra St. Brown has the ball, Green just takes a couple steps in, and then when St. Brown flips this one over to Jahmyr Gibbs, Gibbs is in stride, and he's so fast. Of course, if you give him a couple steps, he's going to win. Amon-Ra St. Brown had to make a perfect flip there. He's gotten used to it over the years, right? But if he messes that up a little bit and slows Gibbs down, it would have backfired, but really well executed by the Lions, and they get the go-ahead score. And then, of course, the clutch 4th down play by Jared Goff. You see here, 4th down and 2. I thought for sure they were going to run it here. I think the Ravens thought for sure they were going to run it. Instead, you see it is a play action, and Goff has time, has a clean pocket, and look at how open Amon-Ra St. Brown gets. Marlon Humphrey was expecting the run there. There's also a penalty. Can't pull off a penalty in that situation if you're the Ravens. It's 4th and 2. Didn't matter though. Great throw from Goff. The Lions improved to 2-1. What an impressive win, and maybe outside of I guess their playoff wins a couple years ago, the most impressive win in the Dan Campbell era in a lot of ways. I mean, no coordinator, both coordinators changed. Clearly, it's not just the coordinators. Clearly, this is an institution, and they are a very good team. After the Week 1 disaster, to be where they're at here, I mean, you have to be over the moon if you're a Lions fan. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Also, if you watched to the end of this video, I appreciate it. If you want to hear my thoughts on movies, I do have a movie channel. You can check that out. The link is in the description below if that seems like your kind of thing. Some movie reviews and stuff like that. So yeah, Jackson Kruger Movies. Link is in the description below if you're interested.